Well, it's time for another book review, and this is a proper book review about a book, and it's not going to deal with anything even slightly controversial. But in keeping with the theme of the channel, it is in fact interesting, at least to me. When I'm not making book reviews and doing other things for a living, I do like to play the piano and the drums. Not seriously, I'm not in a band or anything, but I do enjoy playing just for my own personal edification. Many moons ago, when I was taking piano lessons in college, my piano teacher, I think out of a moment of frustration with my inability to sight read with any kind of proficiency, she recommended this book for me. She said, you need to get a book on how to play from a fake book. So she ordered this for me and got this and started working with me on this, and it greatly improved my sight reading. And those of you who are even slightly musically inclined and like to play keyboard instruments, you will definitely appreciate this. This is How to Play from a Fake Book, Faking Your Own Arrangements from Melodies and Chords by Blake Neely. And this is from... this copy is from 1999, but I originally got mine in 1995. I actually loaned mine out. Somebody was giving me a hard time. I have a bad track record of loaning out books, and indeed I do. A lot of that's because, especially in my younger days, I was a lot more optimistic about the humans around me, but I would loan out books to people I thought could benefit from that knowledge, and I think they probably did, enough so that I never got my book back. But anyway, this is How to Play from a Fake Book. And what this is basically a breakdown of really a kind of music theory light. And it's giving you basic chord structures and all that, and really helps you if you are more inclined to play by ear rather than sight read. So if you know a melody, if you hear songs on the radio, and you want to kind of fake your way through that song, this is a great way to do it. And then, of course, this also does help your other piano playing or whatever instruments you're playing, mainly keyboard instruments, because then you start learning chord structures and building off of that. And I had a basic knowledge of chord structures and all that when I got this book, but man, this really helped me out. And in just a few months, my piano playing got a lot better. And a lot of the pressure was off to be able to just, instead of trying to learn songs exactly, I would listen to a song on the radio and I would fake it. And basically that just means you learn the chords to the song and you make up your own arrangement for the melody. And it's as simple as that. And again, those of you who are even slightly musically curious, this is a good entry point into the world of being able to play piano. So I thought you all might appreciate that. And then along the way, one of the things that this did, in addition to helping me play the piano better, was, as many of you are familiar with Dave McGowan's work on this channel, like Weird Scenes Behind the Canyon or Inside the Canyon, that's all about the dark side of the music industry. One of the things I realized when you start learning from a fake book is, which I should say before I get too far into this anecdote, this pairs nicely with what are called fake books. And what fake books are just, they are a simplified songbook where you just have the chords and then and the melody, and then you make up the rest. So I have a ton of these because I love, just when I'm sitting around the house and just want to unwind, I'll pull out the best fake book ever and I'll play along to some tunes. And if I've got friends over, we'll play and sing and have a great time. And this is also good for your guitar playing friends and stuff like that want to come along and strum along they can join in with the same chords. But what I was saying about Dave McGowan's work that's interesting that goes with this is when I started doing this, you start reading these fake books and start going through and finding songs that you want to play. And really, again, more of this is really a vehicle for playing by ear. So if you've got a good ear for hearing songs on the radio and then picking it out on the piano, this is a good way to build on that knowledge. Because if you've got a good ear, you're kind of halfway there. But the interesting thing is, as you start going through a lot of pop songs, you start realizing who you thought wrote the songs is not who wrote the songs. So many of you are familiar with like the Wrecking Crew. That was one of the main bands in LA that recorded most of the instrumental side of most of the music you're familiar with from the like 70s and 80s. The Wrecking Crew was a studio band that played most of the songs that you know. At least older songs, classic rock songs. And one of the things I found really fascinating before I even got into the Dave McGowan dark angle of it was realizing that just how many times when you start looking at a song, you're like, oh, I really like that song. And you start looking who the artist was, and you start seeing that who you thought wrote the song, that some of these songwriters that you've never heard of wrote some of the stuff that you thought that was attributed through the music industry to bigger names in the industry, and you realize actually that's not the case. It's actually written by these totally other guys that are kind of off the radar. So anyway, I thought you all might appreciate that, and a nice light break from some of the darker material I cover on this channel. I actually sat down at my piano the other day and was playing a little bit, and I thought, this is a book I need to review, and it is in fact interesting. So anyway, if you are, again, musically curious and even slightly musically inclined, especially if you find yourself like hearing songs on the radio and trying to pick them out on a piano or any other kind of keyboard instrument, this is a great way to get into that. And basically all this is just explaining how the different chords work, and it's a great progression from very simple melodies and simple chord structures on up to much more complicated chords and things. But basically by learning these chords and these left-hand patterns, again, that's kind of you're learning the basic theory. Again, not really truly music theory, but kind of music theory light. And you're learning the basic skeletal structure of the music, and then you build on that according to your expertise at that instrument. So again, I am by no means I would not really even call myself a musician necessarily. I love to play for my own enjoyment. And I think that's one of those things too, that also made me think about this book and sharing it with you all, is I think that's one of the underrated things about music and a lot of other talents and that many of you may have, that like learning to play music, learning to sing, learning to draw. There's a lot of the arts, a lot of fine arts that sometimes the best way to enjoy it is just for you personally. And that was what happened with me, is it wasn't really I need to learn this song and I need to get it perfect so I can show it off to my friends. It was, I just like to sit and play. And after a long day at work, sometimes I'd come home and sit down on my piano all by myself and just practice some new tunes and enjoy playing and singing with no one around, because I am not a singer by any stretch of the imagination. So a vocalist or whatever. So it's nice to just be able to sit and play for your own enjoyment. And I think that's one of those things, again, in keeping with the theme of this channel, of just bettering yourself and not doing so for the sake of social media or the sake of any kind of audience, just bettering yourself for your own enjoyment. And I think that's really a good place to get to as a human, is to just enjoy things for the enjoyment that they bring you, not because you're hoping that it's a stepping stone to something else. That you play the piano just because you enjoy playing the piano. You draw a picture because you enjoy drawing a picture. And hey, if somebody else enjoys it, great. But that's not the point. The point is for you to enjoy that. And again, that's what I do. If you all were to hear me play the piano, you'd be like, yeah, you're definitely playing for yourself. And that's the whole point. So And that's when I think about, not to go too far off on a tangent here about pop culture, but that's one of the unfortunate things about our pop culture and influencer culture and all of that is there's very few people that you run into that really do something just for their own enjoyment. There's a lot of people that think, oh, if I just get this down, if I get a little bit better, I could have an audience and I could have a big YouTube presence where I'm, playing the guitar, playing the piano or whatever. And, the things that are really enjoyable in life are just doing things because you enjoy doing them. And funniest thing, that's really how this channel started was, recording book reviews. So my kids would have some kind of archive of all the crazy books that I've got in my library. So anyway, I'll stop there, but I thought you all might get a kick out of that. And like I said, any of you that are even slightly musically inclined and curious about getting into playing the piano or other keyboard instruments, I would definitely recommend this, How to Play from a Fake Book, Faking Your Own Arrangements from Melodies and Chords. And like I said, this has some simple songs in it that a lot of people, kind of old classics that you would know kind of by ear already. So that's already kind of a good jumping off point. But like I said, it pairs nicely with a lot of other fake books, and a lot of used bookstores will have these fake books. You can tell mine I actually bought new, and these are expensive. Back when I bought this, I think this is like a $50 fake book, and it's fallen apart, but I've gotten every penny out of that book. I've had a great time playing through that. And again, good times just having friends over, have a friend over, bring a guitar, and we just stumble through some tunes and have a good time. And not because we want to do anything other than just enjoy ourselves. So anyway, I'll leave it there, but there you go. How to Play from a Fake Book by Blake Neely. And again, this set from 1999, but I know it predates that because I had my copy in 95. So there you go.